Hey guys, my name's Blue. I think that's my name. Blue. Hey, my name's Blue and today we're gonna be buying some gacha packs. Let's go. Was meaning to do this for a while, but whoops. Yeah, you know what, let's go for the lock. You can never go wrong with opening more. Hey, and now for some actual useful content. Okay, so take a look here. We actually have a very interesting deck made by Sugar Plum Latham and posted to twitter.com. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. But yeah, very interesting deck. Basically, I would call this Enhanced Sword. This deck centers around Axe Princess, and if you don't already know, her effect is whenever you use a follower's Enhance effect, draw one card. So basically, you play that Enhanced follower and you refund the follower you just played with card draw, and being 1 mana, it's very easy to proc it with other cheap enhance effects like Rapier Master, Kagemitsu. The enhance effects in this deck do scale all the way from enhance 2 on Rapier Master to enhance 7 on Amelia, and all kinds of enhance effects in between: Kagemitsu, Chromatic Duel, Cyber Cannoneer, 11 Beastmaster, Empress of Serenity, and the True Spell. But anyway, so if I was to take a look in game, give me a moment. Here's the deck I'm going to be trying today. It's a very fun deck. I've been playing a lot of unranked with it. I wouldn't trust myself to play ranked with it, so I'm just going to chill for a bit today in some unranked games. Chromatic Duel is key in a lot of matchups because if you're able to get the black token, which I believe is Queen Magnus the Black, you're able to protect your entire board on turn 4. The other way that this deck wins games is if you're able to maintain board tempo against decks that don't deal well with early boards, like Artifact Portal without accelerating them early, Spellbeast Runecraft, among other decks. You can eventually end up on turn 4, turn 5 buffing your board between Stroke of Conviction and Fierin Wintergod. Geld is just a solid mid-range card that fetches your commander followers for your deck. All the other cards in this deck are just good, cheap followers with bigger enhance effects: Rapier Master, Cyber Cannoneer. Finishing off the game between Stroke of Conviction and Fierin Wintergod board buffs. You also have the option for Celia's Choose mode onto her black version, which is Celia Despair's Messenger. So, great card, dates back to when the Choose mechanic was introduced in Dawnbreak Night Edge. Makes for a superb finisher. If you have 4 followers on board, you just hit face, flip those followers back into your hand and slam them for 6-8 damage with Celia. Great finisher. Finished many a game back in the Steel Rebellion mid-range sword meta along with Lathnum. She was the other good support finisher of the mid-range sword archetype at the time. Your turn 8 play, you play Lathnum. Hopefully you have a Evolve point still sitting around. And his fanfare effect gives your leader the following effects: whenever follower attacks, if there are no allied knights in play, summon a knight. So free 1 mana 1/1 storms. Because of the second effect, whenever an allied follower that originally cost 1 play point comes into play, give it storm. So that was mostly comboed finisher wise with Rapier Master. Majority of cards in this deck are either 1 mana tokens themselves, or they're able to summon 1 mana tokens themselves, which benefit from the Lathnum effect. So if somehow you're in a limited game that's somehow able to drag out, we're able to play Lathnum, that's how you finish up the game and that's how you close it out. We're just going to go for a few games of Unlimited. Because I am not confident in myself, I'm just going to be playing some unranked games. Alright, so right off the bat, we're up against Dragoncraft and Unlimited. Right now, there's few archetypes of Dragoncraft floating around. There's Roost, there's Discard Roost, all kinds of things. I might actually Chromatic Duel here into Queen Magnus the Black. Queen Magnus is just a solid 4 mana play to protect your entire board. Turn 2, Shield Phalanx. Turn 3, we will have to see. But going back to Queen Magnus, her protection effect for your entire board is very useful against IO effects as well as other board clear effects that all rely on effect damage to clear your board. Back in the day when Chromatic Duel was still a rotation card, she was often used for that effect, though back then there weren't as many relevant AoE damage effects that you needed to worry about. As you can see here, I will be comboing the Axe Princess with the Enhanced effect on Rapier Master to refund a card in hand. And I think it's time to ruin this guy's day, so Queen Magnus the Black. So he's not going to be able to easily clear out my board. The best he may be able to do is maybe earth the world into a trade with the Alia. And then he takes out 2 followers, but that does buy him a turn. It's basically one of the ways that this deck wins the game. I suppose he will crash the Alia into the Queen Magnus and then use the Filing effect to destroy. Yep, there we go. 1 mana, not sure what it's gonna do. Better play there might have been to use Stroke of Conviction to buff my entire board. But I can pretty easily finish him off with Stroke of Conviction next turn anyway. Yeah, so fun deck. Let's go for round 2. Limited is a format where if you don't win the game by turn 6, you just straight flat out lose. Most relevant in the current meta would be maybe Whirlwind Roach, Dimension Shift Rune. Anyway, I'm gonna play the 1 mana 1/1 Rapey Master there, just for an aggressive play against a not so prepared deck. And yeah, this is one of the ways that you play the deck. You just play it in a very, very aggressive manner, hitting the opponent's face into submission before you finishing them off with a Cilia or a Stroke of Conviction, Jaren board buff onto your entire board, all kinds of different ways to blast the opponent's face into oblivion. And so I was deciding whether to play the Cyber Cannoneer Enhance or the 11 Beastmaster plus the Cyber Cannoneer for 2 2-mana 2/2s on board. This is more efficient because not only do you get 2 2-mana bodies on board, okay, 1 mana 2 mana removal, and he loses the game. I have been considering cutting down Lathinum to 1 copy because he isn't very relevant against a lot of the meta. He's more of a backup win condition in case you happen to be up against something like, say, Eleanor Haven, which is where the mid-range value part of the deck comes in, and that you're able to take games and stretch it out to turn 7, 8, 9 in Unlimited against certain decks, of course. And just in general, outvalue a lot of decks out there. So yet again, I will be keeping the Rapier Master and Cilia in hand. Probably Guilt on turn 3, depending on whether he leaves my board up or not. I found my alternate turn 2 play, so of course there is argument to be made for a more aggressively statted 1 mana card in the deck. But the problem with adding in, say, something like a Vanguard, a Goblin, or Perseus is that they lack flexibility and they lack being able to take advantage of all the floating mana points without putting yourself at a hand disadvantage. So this is 100% Roach Forest, so I will be wanting to play the Empress of Serenity, and I will be wanting to save her for a turn 5 play. If he has Airbound Barrage here, it's going to be really annoying. Thankfully, he will not, in fact, have Airbound Barrage, but I will be waiting on a decent card. Alright, that works. Now I debate here. I'm just going to hit face. Why not? He's not going to have his Roach online for the lethal until at least turn 5, turn 6. Okay, that's a somewhat annoying one. He only has 6 damage on board, but it will annoy the heck out of me. So hopefully I can draw that Amelia next turn. If I don't draw Amelia here, I have no way to take out that Elf Queen. That works too, that works too. Alright, so we'll be using the white mode of Cilia. Cilia Hope Strategist, summons a Shield Guardian and a Heavy Knight onto the board. Involve the Cilia. Hopefully this will slow down his Roach game plan a little bit. Roach builds don't usually run Elf Queen unless they're more mid-range oriented, which isn't really the unlimited meta right now, but we're playing unranked. Anything goes. And he will, in fact... Yep, he's going to bounce the Roach, he's going to evolve the Elf Queen, and I'm going to be stuck in a rock and a hard place. At the very least, I will be able to delay for another turn. But this is a dicey spot I'm in right now. I have enabled Rally Tents, so I will be able to get off the Wind God next turn. A bit of a problem. However, get down Barrage onto the board. And if he has a Roach, 2 Roaches in hand into a 1-mana bounce, he's won the game straight up. And unfortunately, the Wind God Invocation does actually stuff me up here a little, because I will be unfortunately unable to play Empress of Serenity and Shield Phalanx at the same time, so that would be 30? Ooh, okay. That's pretty good. Alright, so let's see what's the best I can do here. 13. 2 bot slots, 14, 15. If I bounce here, I feel like I had something else to play here. This is my best play. If you took out the Celia last turn, I'll be able to put up more wards, but that is most unfortunate. So the Roach matchup is tricky. If the Roach plays it well, leaves you up with board on your side of the board. Seraphic Blade, Airbound Barrage. Ooh, he will in fact take out one of my Shield Guardians. I do foresee a unfortunate I played myself. Bit of a tricky one. What can you do? Right, so I tend to keep Silly in hand as a solid turn 2 or turn 5 play. Hopefully we'll draw 1 mana. I should maybe chuck the Cyber Cannoneer out. Turn 1 Kagemitsu. Turn 1 Kagemitsu, because why the hell not? Hell yeah! Alright, this will be in fact a game against Summit Haven. I'm going to play the turn 2 Celia to enable the turn 3 Geld. Hopefully a turn 4 Cyber Cannoneer. If I don't have the board spots, I'll just play a Wind God instead. This works better for me. So the reason I Queen Magnus plus a Cyber Cannoneer instead of Geld is I want to protect my board from the very likely kill that's going to come in the turn or so. Very highly likely. We'll see. We will see. That's going to hurt though. This is Summit though, and not being able to attack that Whiskers there is a massive pain. However, because he can't deal with my board, it's just gonna have to go full aggro. I'm pretty dead next turn. Maybe it would have been better off there with a Queen Hernia, the white, to counter the Whiskers on board. No, that wouldn't have helped because he did Petra protect the Meowskers on board. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. Now, going second definitely hurts. Also really hurt last game not having any of my wards on hand. It will be in fact Summit Temple again. Here we go again. Let's go Axe Princess. Shield Phalanx, Kagemitsu, Cyber Cannoneer. Classic. At least this time we do have the wards in hand. We have 11 Beastmaster, we have the Shield Guardian. So I have 2 options here. I could Beastmaster, evolve Beastmaster, trade with Kage, or I could play Kagemitsu for the value on the Axe Princess. Against this deck, I would like to take a more aggressive stance, but I think I will read it a little bit. And we'll use that 1 extra mana to Magnus on the next turn. Axe Princess evolve, we're gonna have a Kagemitsu next turn, and we'll get face instead. Turn 5 Amelia, turn 6 Queen Magnus, turn 6 11 Beastmaster, or Strike of Conviction, whatever works, Maybe 11 Beastmaster into Stroke of Conviction buff. He is playing rather defensively. Is he going to evolve the Unicorn Knight? So we have a fairly beefy ward in the way. We have a fairly sizable Kagemitsu. One of the weaknesses of this deck definitely is the fact that it lacks vanilla 2-mana 2/2, so if I wanted to play a 2-mana 2/2 before the Queen Magnus there, I would lose the game, but you know, we won the game. Right there, Enhanced Sword is a fun deck to try out. It's an alternative to the vanilla mid-range Sword Unlimited archetype. Not that anyone really plays Sword in Unlimited, unfortunately, because it does lack the high rolls that other decks, for example Spellburst Rune, Artifact Portal, possess. It also struggles against those decks because those decks are able to generate consistent massive value on average, more than mid-range Sword is usually able to handle, so that's another thing to consider. If you do enjoy playing Sword in rotation, then you can try playing this in Unlimited. There will be decks that you will be able to outvalue and eventually win against. Mostly aggro decks, aggressive decks with not very much hand generation potential, like Aggro Blood, Summit Haven. Sometimes you may also, so a fair amount to consider with this deck. Definitely a deck that will probably see future support, but yeah, fun deck if you have the cards. Give it a try. I'm BlueBlade11, and I'll see you on the flip side. Peace.